Maayong adlaw everyone! Welcome back to this channel. If you are new to my channel, my name is Cor and I'm your business nurse from Southeast England. Before I will start my vlog for today, let me thank my current subscribers. If you are new here to this channel, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. In today's vlog, I'm going to do an all-in-one content. So in this video, you would know what are the requirements to apply as a dependent, as a partner dependent, or a child dependent, and what is the cost of this visa application, and the most common reasons why the dependent visa application can be rejected. But disclaimers first. I am not an immigration officer nor a consultant. The information that I'm going to relay to you is based on www.gov.uk website and due to further research because Google is amazing. So first things first, who are considered as dependents? So this can be a civil partner, a spouse, unmarried or same-sex partner, or a child. So you can be a dependent of someone holding a student visa, or for the most common, a dependent of a skilled worker visa holder. Skilled worker visa, or what was previously called as Tier 2 migrant workers, and this is what I'm going to cover in today's video. So just to add, apart from what I have researched in the government website here in the UK, and from other articles that I have read online, these are also based in my personal experience. So if you have been following me for a while now, I came here in the UK year 2017 on a Tier 2 dependent visa. So not only I'm going to share to you what I have learned, but I'm also going to share my personal experience to you guys, so you would have an idea how I applied for my dependent visa. Now let's talk about the requirements. So these are the following documents that you need to provide when applying as a dependent. So I'm going to divide this into two, the basic requirements and the optional ones. So as for a partner dependent, you would need a valid passport, a birth certificate, proof of marriage or proof of relationship, a bank statement. So this can be provided by the dependent or the main visa holder if the maintenance in the certificate of sponsorship is not certified by the employer. But apart from that, if it's certified, you don't need any proof of funds. So if you don't have a certified maintenance, you must show enough funds in your bank account, which is amounting to 1,270. That should be in your bank account for a consecutive 28 days, and an additional £285 for an adult applicant, and £315 for a child dependent, and £200 per additional child. So as what I have mentioned earlier, if a skilled worker employer has an A rating, this can certify these funds. So the applicant may not need to provide proof of funds availability. So apart from those documents that I have mentioned, you need to provide your police clearance, your UKVI English test result. So remember, you need to sit for an English proficiency test, and that must be a UKVI test because that is the one recognized by the Home Office for visa application. You also need to provide your TB certificate depending on which country are you coming from, your visa application form, your visa application, and IHS confirmation email. Now let's talk about a child dependent visa. So these are children under the age of 18 when applying for the first time, and your child will be eligible to apply if both parents are applying for entry clearance at the same time, or if both parents are already in the UK and the child is applying to join them, or if one parent is already in the UK and the other parent is applying for entry clearance to join them along with the child. But there can be exemptions. So what if your situation does not meet the eligibility criteria? So these are the following exemptions. Number one, if the skilled worker is the only living parent. Second, if the skilled worker has the full responsibility of the child. So this applies to our single parents out there. Number three, if there are compelling or serious reasons that can exceptionally apply as the dependent of only one of his or her parents. And lastly, if the other parent is British or holding an indefinite leave to remain visa. So here are the following requirements to apply as a child dependent. Number one, of course, a child must have a valid passport. Number two, birth certificate. Number 3, TB certificate. And lastly, a letter of consent from both of the parents, but if it's not applicable, you can make your invitation letter explaining your circumstances. So as for the primary visa holders or the person that you are joining to in the UK, these are the following documents that you need from them. Number 1, the copy of the passport. You need to have a copy of the page where the vignette is stamped. Number 2, you need a birth certificate. Number 3, the certificate of sponsorship if you are applying together. However, if you are applying separately, if you are just joining them, so if they are already in the UK, you would need the copy of their certificate of sponsorship and their BRP card or the biometric residence permit. So you need to provide a copy of the front and back side of the BRP card. You would also need a bank statement or bank reference letter if your main visa holder does not have a certified maintenance sponsorship. Now let's talk about the optional documents or credentials that you can provide in your visa application. So it is optional. You may or you may not provide these documents. But in my case, I have provided a lot of documents because I'm very paranoid. It is my first time to apply to enter the UK, so I'm very anxious that I won't get accepted or I might have a visa refusal. So I provided as much as relevant documents or information as possible. So for those who are not married or in a same-sex relationship, there should be a subsisting genuine relationship similar or close to marriage for the past 2 years. You can prove your relationship through providing certain documents like utility bill records, exchange of conversations through phone records or social media accounts, money transfer receipts, photos together, and travel records like plane tickets with your names on it. You can also ask your main visa holder to provide these following documents, but let me just reiterate, these are just optional. So you can provide their employment certificate, their contract, their payslips, maybe just the recent ones, an invitation letter. So I'm going to put in the screen here a sample of the invitation letter that my husband did when I applied as his dependent, proof of accommodation, so example is a tenancy contract, and a no objection letter from the landlord. As for the proof of accommodation, this is just to provide the home office a proof that you will have an adequate living arrangement when you arrive in the UK. So in my case, since my husband is already here in the UK for at least a year before I applied as a dependent, so he already got a flat for us to stay. So he was able to give me a tenancy contract and a no objection letter from the landlord. So I'm sharing to you in the screen a sample of the no objection letter from the landlord. It stipulates there in the no objection letter that the room can accommodate up to 2 people. However, this kind of documentation is not applicable for everybody, especially those who are staying in the accommodation. But it's just me sharing to you some optional documents that you can provide. Okay, so as what I have mentioned earlier, these are optional documents. So you may or you may not provide these documents. It will not do harm if you will provide as many documents as you can, but just don't overdo it. You know what I mean? Like for example, proof of relationship, you don't need to print all your social media conversations for the last 2 years. Just get some random part of your conversations and just get random record of your phone bills and some random travels or itinerary together. You know, you don't need to provide then a bulk of documents to prove your relationship. Just provide some information just to support that you have a valid relationship. And just to add, I have found a content about someone getting refused of the dependent visa as a partner because there are no sufficient evidence that they are living together for the last 2 years or has an active relationship for the last 2 years because their marriage was prearranged. So you need to also explain to the home office about your circumstances, like your culture when it comes to partnership or marriage. Okay, so that is one of my tips as well. If you are coming from countries who have prearranged or fixed marriage, write a letter explaining your circumstances and the culture that you have. Failure to comply with the requirements needed could put your visa application at risk for refusal or rejection. And that's what I'm going to discuss in the later part of this vlog. So let's talk about the cost of visa application. So for those applying as a dependent of a skilled worker visa holder, but they are not on the shortage occupation list, they have to pay £610 for a 3-year visa, and anything beyond 3 years, you will pay £1,220. So for those dependents of a skilled worker visa under a shortage occupation list, they have to pay £464 for a 3-year visa and £928 for anything above 3 years. So for those skilled workers who are not on the shortage occupation list, their dependents have to pay the Immigration Health Surcharge or the IHS, which costs £624 yearly. But on the other hand, for those who are in the shortage occupation list, they have nothing to pay for that because this was recently abolished. So apart from application fee and your IHS fee, the biometric centers also provide some special services. So for example, the scanning of the documents, checking of your documents before lodging your application, assisting you with your online application, and some courier services or SMS services. So those can be found in their website. The special services offered and its costs vary from one biometric center to another. Now let me share to you what are the following reasons on why your dependent visa application will most likely to get disapproved. So here are the top 10 reasons why your dependent visa application can be rejected. Number 1, not filling the application form properly. In completing the visa application form, you have to do it slowly but surely. If unsure with the details to provide, consult a reliable source or an immigration consultant. In my case, I did DIY or do it yourself. I did not resort to paying some immigration consultant or solicitors to help or to guide me in my visa application. I just did a lot of research online and I asked some friends that underwent this visa application. You have to ensure that you are applying for the correct visa category. Why is this so? Because I made this mistake. So instead of applying as a Tier 2 dependent, what I did, I applied as Tier 2 general migrant, which is definitely incorrect because the general migrant holder is my husband and not me because I am the dependent. So it should be a Tier 2 dependent visa application. So what I did, since I already made an error in the visa application form, I attached a letter explaining why I made the mistake and what should be the correct visa category that I should apply for. And luckily enough, my application was considered. Second reason could be failing to submit the correct documents or not providing the obligated credentials. Usually in your visa application, they provide a document checklist to guide the applicants on which credentials or documents to be submitted. However, the checklists are not exhaustive or they are incomplete. Hence, you need to provide as much as relevant documents in order to prevent a further delay to your application. Just don't overdo it, okay? Number 3 reason, submitting copies of documents when the original ones are required. So there are certain credentials which you have to submit in their original form. So these are of course your passport, your birth certificate, marriage certificate, your police clearance, your English test results, and your TB certificate. The fourth reason that you can be rejected if you don't have a valid English language certificate. Number 5, failure to fulfill satisfactory accommodation. So it is crucial that you can prove that you will have an adequate living arrangement once you arrive here in the UK. If this is applicable for you, you can ask your primary visa holder to give you a copy of their tenancy contract, and this must state that your accommodation is not limited to a single person. So you can also ask your landlord to declare that the room rented can accommodate more than one person. Number 6, lack of funds. So if you're not on an A-rated sponsor, which means that the maintenance box is not ticked as yes, then you must show that you have enough money in your bank account. So I have mentioned this earlier, you need to have 1,270 pounds in your bank account for consecutive 28 days, an additional 285 for an adult dependent, and 315 pounds for a child dependent, and another 200 pounds per additional child. The seventh reason could be the relationship is not valid or insufficient evidence of their relationship. So to be eligible to apply as a dependent, you should be a civil partner or you are a spouse of the primary visa holder, or if you are living together or in a relationship for at least 2 years when you apply. You also have to prove to Home Office that you are intending to live together once you arrive here in the UK. So that's what I have mentioned, that if you are not legally married, then you can provide another supporting documents to prove to the Home Office that you have a valid and existing relationship. Number 8. So if a child-dependent applicant does not meet the eligibility criteria to join the skilled worker visa holder in the UK, then the application might get refused. The number 9th reason is error in the documents of the primary visa holder, like the certificate of sponsorship. So this factor is applicable for those who are coming in the UK together with the skilled worker holder, okay? But for those who are already here in the UK, it is unlikely to happen because they won't be issued a biometric residence permit if there are discrepancies initially in their certificate of sponsorship. And last but not the least, you can be rejected or can even be banned to enter the UK if you hide relevant information or if you provide false information. So you have to declare any previous visa refusals, not only in the UK but to other countries as well. And you have also to declare if you have any record of being banned to a country apart from the UK, and also you have to tell them if you have any criminal offense. In the Home Office, you have an assigned caseworker. So the caseworker will thoroughly review your application, and any attempt to conceal or to hide information or to provide false documents can be most likely spotted. Okay? So never attempt to do it. Deceiving immigration officers is extremely risky. This could put your name on their ban list, which is applicable up to 10 years. Imagine, up to 10 years before you can reapply entry to the UK. So hopefully you find this vlog informative, and I hope this would help our skilled workers who are planning to petition their dependents like their partner or their children. This vlog might not be really that extensive, but at least it provides you a summary of all the things you need to know in order for your dependent to enter the UK under a skilled worker visa. If you find this content valuable, please hit the like button, and if you feel you have someone that needs to see this video, please feel free to share. Once again, thank you for watching this vlog for today. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel and you are watching this video, what are you waiting for? Please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel, and you can hit the notification bell to keep you updated. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye-bye!